Hello, everyone. Can you talk?
Hello, folks. Peter Light and Brian Benware with you here to announce the semifinal of the SWBL Season 18 Championship, featuring the #1 seed Braves against the winner of the wild card game, the Expos, who won in dramatic fashion over the Rockies and set up a big matchup here. Oh, I got it! Oh, went through my legs. Sam Skibby will take the bump for the Braves, and Brett Spencer batting leadoff for the Expos. I already made an error. It kind of went right through my legs.
That's okay. Better to get him out of the way when it doesn't matter.
I agree.
And folks, we're hoping for a surprise guest later in the broadcast, so we'll keep you updated if that happens.
You'll know it when you hear it. Then Brett sends one deep to left. Hot start for the Expos, 1-0.
Hottest team coming into the playoffs, winning 5 of their last 6 prior to the playoffs, and then winning their first playoff victory in franchise history.
You know, they dug themselves in a bit of a hole, but you know, they haven't stopped believing this entire time. When you've got 2 of the best pitchers in the league, they've been riding them all the way through, and a lot of timely hitting by all players on the team.
Absolutely. They've really found a solid 4 to go with. We'll see what decisions Captain Kevin Wetucker has made for their lineup today. But and so far,
throws it and it's gonna
he doesn't like that ball for sure.
So Brian, fun fact, you know, we will have a new champion this year. It is official.
It is official. The Yankees were knocked out, and Jimmy Stout going yard left field there.
Jimmy Nelson.
Sorry, that's what I meant to say. I apologize. Yeah.
Just started.
But yeah, the
top one, 2-0 Expos.
Remaining teams left: the Braves, the Expos, and the Brewers. None of which have ever won a championship here. The most history here of playoff experience, you could say, would be the Skibbies on the Braves, but as a franchise, it's you, the Brewers.
Yep, it is a close one. You've got, you know, the 3 players you see in the field, Hall of Famers. Paul in his glory days on the Rays led him to 3 titles. So those are 2 storied teams with good franchise playoff experience.
There we go,
Evan. And Evan gets more.
Back-to-back home runs from the Expos.
As mentioned, the Expos are new to this playoff, but doesn't really look like it.
No, and they came into the season, Peter, saying that a playoff berth wasn't a victory for the season. They wanted to win it all, and it seems like they are determined to make that happen.
You know, I will admit, I definitely doubted. You know, I thought a ceiling would be, you know, maybe a playoff experience, but maybe a wild card loss. I didn't originally predict them making it into the playoffs, as Sam gets grimmer looking, but really underestimated this team, and the camaraderie and the passion that they have is unstoppable.
Mm-hmm.
Probably my pick for franchise.
I was going to say that at least, I mean, minimum Kevin has got to win Manager of the Year, which is a new award that we're awarding this year, but he has made some offseason moves, adding Brett to the lineup, making some tough decisions on who he's going to hit, what for, who's going to play the field, and that stuff has worked out. So Kevin this is a big season for Kevin. Hall of Fame nominee.
You know, I think the trifecta for him, as you alluded to, would be Hall of Fame berth, Manager of the Year, and the ever most important championship.
Absolutely.
All within reach. And
Sam gets Brett.
Brett running, striking out. So three solo shots in the top of the first by the Expos. It'll take us into the bottom. And it looks like we'll have Jimmy Nelson on the mound. No surprise there.
Nope. And it looks like the Expos electing to go with their best fielding lineup, I would say.
Yep.
Having Brett with his experience out in left field. John, who's moved from left to right this season, but playing an outstanding right field for the Expos. And then Jimmy Stout, the intimidating Jimmy Nelson. I'm sorry, Jimmy.
Oh,
You know, everybody has been intimidated by Jimmy this season, and he has pitched a gem. Probably, as Gus flies out to John there in right field, probably a lock for Cy Wiffle.
I think so. I took a quick glance at the numbers, and I don't know how you argue against him. And if you're tuning in for the first time, he generally throws a knuckleball that is the nastiest that we've ever seen in the league.
Yeah, prior to Jimmy, really the only knuckleballer was Scott Poley, and I mentioned that in previous broadcasts. But Jimmy comes in the league, throws a nasty knuckleball, and it seems like every pitcher is trying to figure out how to throw a knuckleball now.
You know, I actually pitched earlier today and kind of developed a knuckleball on the fly, and it kind of worked enough. So we all want to be like Jimmy.
Yeah. Now, Peter, are you 2-0 on the mound?
You know, Brian, I'm actually 3-0.
3-0. Pardon me.
I pitched about 14 and a half in those 3 games. Couldn't quite go all the way. Needed to get some relief and get a save for Kyle in one of our games, but yeah, was not expected. But trying to give PG and Kyle some relief. With not having Jimmy Stout and obviously not having David Olderman this year, wanted to make sure we rested them up for the playoffs. And I guess at least with PG in the first game, seemed to be a good move.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great decision. We were actually debating on how long of a leash you were going to give PG, but you decided to ride with him the whole game. He pitched a gem, and there was a little trouble there in the fifth that could have maybe made you think about it, but you decided to ride with him, and it worked out great.
Yeah, I was definitely thinking about it when to put Kyle in. He's got a couple saves for us this year. And then shortly after I started thinking about it, I could hear you guys asking the same question. I would have let PG go a little longer and leave it up to him at that point.
It's a mark of a good captain, I believe. Like, you definitely know your players in and out. You know their strengths and weaknesses. It's, in the end, your decision. But getting input from your team, I think, not only helps with the decision, but at the same time, too, you build that team chemistry a bit where it's not one person's decision.
Indeed.
At all times. Sam gets Jimmy Nelson swinging there,
Yes,
and gets the first out of the inning. So,
and there's a ball to Sam, and that's a quick out of the inning there. No damage done, and I believe we're still holding a 3-0 lead.
Yeah.
Going into the bottom of the second.
Big get for the combined teams. The Royals and the A's combined to form the Braves this season. Due to the coronavirus and some of the restrictions and limitations of other players on both of those franchises. And, if you think that Paul's not here, you wonder what happens in left field for the Braves. And honestly, that has been, aside, of course he's a great hitter, Hall of Fame member of the SWBL, but his experience and abilities in left field.
As you talk about him, goes late.
Paul admittedly loves the high pitches, and you can see the look of determination on his face.
He was not listening to us
as he goes to get his own ball, and Jimmy gets the first out of the game there, or the inning there, off of Steve Hayes. So
yeah, this team just kind of fell into place. Paul had been with the Skibby brothers years ago on the Royals for a year. Finds himself back with them again, and with fellow athletic Steve Hayes.
Good pitch.
Yeah, we've never historically seen either of the Skibbies play in left field. They've had Ty Butler for the past 4 or 5 years. So I heard a tree. Brett played soccer in high school.
Oh, the double kick. Folks, he still has it. Don't think about his age. He is athletic.
Gus is still chopping away.
Gus is battling here.
Staying alive.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the last time that one of the Skibbies played a consistent left field, and the last time I could think of either of them being there would have been with the Cardinals franchise when Sam and Brett played together. Sam would play when Brett was pitching. And that's the last time I can think of seeing a skibby in left field.
Yep. They're more famous for the hitting and the pitching. So without Paul, I wonder what they would have done. Paul's the perfect left fielder for them.
Sam hits a rope.
You know, it was an interesting formation. Oh, and that's going to be a tequila shot for Jim Nelson.
Oh, but Jimmy gets to the mound in time to hold Gus at third base. So the part of the pitcher's poison rule is it becomes a dead ball once the pitcher has the active ball in their possession and gets to the mound.
And you know, I had seen the formation. You see how deep Brett is playing here. Most time, left fielders are up closer to the bag. May have been able to feel that and make the play at first. You respect the power, but you also want to be able to get those grounders.
Absolutely.
And yes, folks, if you knock over the bucket at any time during a game, you are required to take a tequila shot. So
One
I'm sure
of
that will
the
happen after the game.
Is that a written or unwritten rule of the SWBL?
It's not on the website, but it is honored by
All franchises.
Yes.
And if you look, folks, at the strong shift to left field on Paul Castellano, and that could have been real trouble for the Expos there if he had kept that fair.
Yep, they would have scored 2. Paul and Sam, 2 of the most notorious hole hitters. You will constantly see them hitting it down the left field line. Gus, not quite the same. Gus can slap it wherever he wants to go.
Gus,
He will.
Yeah, Gus Gibby, one of the obviously greatest hitters in SWBL history, but he's one of those guys who can literally hit the ball no matter where it is in the zone. I've seen him hit home runs over top his head, home runs from his shoelaces.
Oh,
and he does it, but they did get the shift.
Oh, he bobbled it.
They did shift it over, and unfortunately the bobble ruins that play there.
Paul can get the team going a little bit with his chants and cheers.
Paul,
that's what they need.
Paul traditionally a fairly quiet.
Steve Hayes! Steve! And there's Paul again.
Paul.
See what I'm saying, folks?
You know,
That's what Paul's talking about.
Yep. Paul, a traditionally quiet person.
Yep. And you might still be able to see him and hear him on camera.
But when
That's it,
he
Steve.
talks, his team listens.
Wow, this is turning into something.
Gus Gibby trying to trim the trees even more with his at-bats here. And he gets one off the hands that Brett makes the play on to end the inning.
Let's go, Sam.
Count the score over whenever you figure it out.
5-3 or 4-3?
5-3 we're here.
Sounds like 5-3.
The Royals have the Braves. That's going to happen. Braves have come back to take the lead. And I think we're talking top 3.
Yes.
Seems too quick to be top 4.
It does seem too fast.
Let's go, Sam. 5-3, top 3.
And we were right. Steve Hayes with the assist.
Germer up to bat to start the... Ooh, and Sam with the rare wild pitch
Over
for
the
him.
backstop, that'll be 2 balls. If you hit the batter or throw it over, it's actually 2 balls instead of 1.
Germer has been the hero of the Expos in multiple games this year.
He has, and I think he blossomed in Summer League and got some much-needed experience. Played alongside his current teammate Jimmy Nelson, and really has improved year over year.
Remind me, did Germer used to play barefoot as his captain did, Kevin?
He definitely has, and honestly, I think the signing of Brett and the raised expectations for the team, I think that kind of put cleats on a lot of those guys, except for Kevin, of course.
Except for Kevin, but Kevin has only made 2 or 3 appearances in the whole season. Did get get an inning on the mound there against the Astros, and got a big at bat yesterday or earlier today, I can't remember, which ended up helping seal the victory for the Expos to get them to that 4 seed. Excuse me.
Looks like he'll take a walk. And yesterday he did have a big home run late in the game against the Yankees to get it to extras and to get it to a second round of the home run derby that eventually was won by Brett Spencer.
Also with the big home run against the Twins in their victory against the Twins last night, which in a sense sealed the fate of the Astros and the Yankees for their playoffs hopes. So Matt Germer really has come on this year. both in Summer League and the SWBL, and Kevin's got to be really proud of the growth that he's had over his career. So
Certainly, the roster is certainly getting crowded. A lot of Expos on the team, but a lot of quality Expos that deserve some playing time. To give a quick shout out to my wife Erin, who let me know that it's a little hard for the folks to hear me, so I'm gonna try to raise my voice here. Thank you, Erin. Love you.
Hi, Erin.
Oh, and if you foul it into the strike zone with 2 strikes, it is effectively a strikeout. That's 1 down.
Jimmy Nelson coming up to bat. Let's see if he can tie it up here or get him that much closer. In the bottom of the 3rd, takes a big hack at Sam's riser ball. Oh, and Paul making a great play in left field. And that just goes back to that experience and that calm demeanor that Paul has. Not to panic at a hard hit ball. Not an easy thing to do in left field, as you and I both know.
Yeah, you know, I keep thinking back, you know, he spent his first 4 years on the Rays with Chris Metter, learning how to play left field, learning how to be that quiet but poised leader, and I think he's call him a disciple of Chris Metter.
Absolutely.
Oh, Sam
pushes it. Oh my God, is it gonna be opposite?
Come in. Oh,
Sam
he's going to 3rd.
is trying for the triple.
Man, that's a triple, folks.
And that is a triple to the opposite field.
fingers.
Folks, if you are live with us right now, that is something you will never see again. Sam Skibby has not hit a ball to right field since he was in diapers.
9th grade, diapers.
9th grade. I mean,
Potato.
he's probably wearing diapers in 9th grade. Let's go.
Let's see what Paul can do. What a game this is turning out to be. And I'm sitting here knowing that one of these teams is going to be matched up against this next. Couldn't even tell you what I would like to see. Wow, John has that determination in his eyes.
That's an interesting factor I hadn't thought about until you mentioned it. But yeah, with you watching this game, knowing that the winner of the game is going to be your opponent, what goes through your mind as the captain of the Brewers?
Always a tough question because it seems like if you Steve singles one.
What a
I
play.
think he came down. He came down.
What a play by Brett Spencer.
You know, the lesser of 2 evils, hard to decide. I'm really hoping that after 30 innings by Jimmy and 2 playoff games, if we were to play the Expos, I'm wondering if this knuckleball would be as effective as it usually is. But you never want to play the skivvies. Tough question. I don't know if I can answer that, Brian.
You know, I would say,
you know, the offense of the Braves is definitely a little more frightening, and maybe I would probably go with that. The one to avoid.
But luck has not been on the Skibby side when it comes to being the 1 seed into the playoffs. Since Sam and Gus joined forces, they still have yet to win a championship, which you would not expect from the Skibby Wiffle Ball League.
Exactly.
But maybe, you never know. This could be the year.
What a
play by Paul. Paul being a rock for them in left field right now. And one of the rare guys that wears tennis shoes playing wiffle ball in this league. That is a tough play.
Infield single.
All right, Expos with a little life with Germer getting on with that little poke single up the right line. So we'll see if the big acquisition in the offseason, Brett Spencer, can come up big for the Expos here in the bottom of the 4th.
Top 4, maybe?
Top 4.
Top 4.
Excuse me, top 4. Down 2?
I think so. This could make it interesting.
Old opponents friends, longtime Cardinals. Facing off. Oh, and Brett makes him pay.
You know, even despite playing as teammates on the Cardinals for a few years, there's probably nobody that has played against each other more batting and pitching than good old friends Sam Skibby and Brett Spencer.
Yeah, and in a hitter league, the advantage definitely goes to the hitter in that scenario. So nothing to be shaky about. Gus makes the play at the wall there to end the inning.
We get a score check for the fans. See if somebody heard me.
Sam, what's the score? 5-5. Bottom of 4.
5-5. Okay.
So we'll see what happens. See what Jimmy Nelson can do here. Braves settling in. They've seen them plenty of times. Been a couple times through the lineup. You got to be getting a little more comfortable here. But that knuckleball being extremely tough to hit.
And this is the third time these teams have faced off, having been in the same division this season.
That's true.
Sam looks a little tired, as expected.
If I come up, I'm gonna need you to water for me. You're fine. Yeah. No, I know. I'm wheezing. I thought I was gonna pass out earlier. You're good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nothing trumps camaraderie and friendship in this league, folks, and that's what those two opponents were talking about. Sam battling, wanting to make sure he gets to hydrate before his next inning on the mound there, and Brett, of course, being ever so mindful of his health, saying, of course, it is okay. So
Yeah, I'm tearing up a little bit.
yeah, definitely a touching moment here in the semifinal.
Oh, Gus goes out.
Gus slaps it over the fence in right field, which is always a possibility with him.
Paul is just turning into the head cheerleader here, jacking up his teammates.
So Sam comes up to bat now, seeing if he can pad that lead a little bit more here in the bottom of the 4th. Oh,
the water
and
was
just
good.
mashes it. Must have been that Michael Jordan Space Jam water that he
Secret
got.
stuff.
That secret stuff.
The ball is swinging for the fences.
Something to keep in mind if you play the Braves, you know, that Paul has a hard time laying off those high pitches, but also is only about 50-50 on getting a hold of them. The problem is that 50 that he does, most of the time they go out.
Got him. Yeah, he's historically been strikes out a little more frequently, but he also has more power than most.
Mm-hmm.
And there it is.
And folks, we are welcomed by our surprise guest, Jimmy Stout, to the booth. Pull up a chair, Jimmy.
Say hello to
How
the
are we
fans.
doing? Say hello to the fans.
Hey everybody, doing good. I've been watching a lot. I was pretty pumped up watching the Brewers last game. They've
John Light makes the final out there of the bottom of the 4th. So we go into the 5th here with the Braves up 2.
Masouche solo home runs.
We will see what happens if the Skibbies can hold on to this. So, Jimmy, it's so good to see you, man.
yeah, I'm just happy I was able to make it up for this one.
Jimmy, give me a smile, bro.
Yeah, but
Could be on Instagram.
I miss it. You know, it's tough for me to make it out here. Got some health issues going on the last couple of years, but yeah, I just miss being out here with everybody. It's a little bit different this year, but everybody's doing their part, pulling it off.
Mm-hmm.
Do you see a lot of cars in the front, by chance?
Oh, a line up just past Paul with a diving effort. What an effort by Paul.
No, not too many cars.
We're doing it right. Leadoff batter gets on. Germer will step to the plate.
Let's see if he can be the hero and tie it up again.
Top 5. Expos need 2 to keep it going.
One more, Sam. One more, Sam.
Yeah, we could have. Legit.
Oh,
Germer hanging in there,
staying alive.
staying alive, getting that foul ball. So we'll see what Sam decides to do here. Oh, and he tries to get him to chase with that, 7-footer outside, so. Oh, and Germer slaps one over to right field. Doesn't stay fair. It's fair ball. Evan rounding third, and he stays at third. Tripped up a little bit at second base.
Great base run by Germer over there. Not to
You know.
get too ahead of himself.
Yeah.
Into an out. You need
So, again, the big man stepping up to the plate, Brett Spencer. Oh, and he drives one just over the fence to take the lead in the top of the fifth.
This game is going to keep going, folks.
This 7-6, if I'm correct in my math.
The Expos are up 1.
76 beers may be the amount of beers I've drank this weekend, so I'm not positive on the math here, but
That's a nice skibby
it is.
jersey you
It
got
is. Buy yours today. Oh,
I've gotten to watch a few of these games, and I have to say, obviously Jimmy Nelson's pitching, but Brett Spencer, is he the factor to the success so far?
I think so. We were talking about that, I think in one of the previous podcasts, or maybe earlier, Peter, about how Brett, of course, was a huge get for the Expos, but Germer's been really clutch for them and has come on. And Kevin's been able to settle into a nice lineup. That drops in for a single. They had the shift on Jimmy, and Gus couldn't quite get there.
I think if you look at the Expos performances year over year, I think the arrival of Brett has really raised the performance of each of them. You see more guys wearing cleats. You see more guys hitting home runs. They're really trying to-
Oh, and that drops in. Gus can't quite make the play, and I'm talking quietly because he's sitting right there.
Yeah, and speaking of Germer, I remember the last full season I played, I remember watching him and I was like, this kid's got some spunk to him. And his first year getting used to the pitching and stuff, I remember it's a little tough just like anybody, but that last season I played, I was like, this guy might have a good year. I think last year he even kind of made a name for himself out there, so I'm not surprised to hear that he's been having a good season.
And Evan played his first year was last year, right? He was rookie last year.
He's been around. He started with the Rockies in part-time role and was traded to the Expos. I would say he's in year 3 or 4.
Okay. So
had a
I
big
wasn't
role
paying
this year.
attention for the past couple seasons then. Germer drives one. Oh. And that is a mental.
So it looks like
Folks.
John Light of the Expos called infield fly.
From the bench.
I don't believe
Wanting to avoid a double play, I
From-
suppose, but that
I
was
don't believe
uncatchable.
Gus was very close to that
He
ball.
was not.
It was going to drop in. I
Ooh,
think
that
he
shades
was a
of
little
Mike Matheny
premature.
right there.
And John's got to be kicking himself over there.
He does.
Now there's some strategy going. I don't know what these conversations are, but
John's got to be kicking himself for that call there. And
quick water break.
in a sense, gets the first out on a play that probably wouldn't have happened.
Would have
So
scored a run.
would have scored a run.
Would have probably
And,
been second and third.
Now, granted, you do have Brett coming up to bat, which is probably you're probably most comfortable with that scenario. But at the same time, even if they hadn't scored on that,
And we're going to see a pitching change here. Skibby for Skibby. Gus will come in and give a new look to try and confuse these batters.
No, I'm sure this has been talked about a lot, but I haven't seen the Blur scoreboard in person yet, and I had to come see it because I saw photos. And wow,
yep,
really brings something to the Blur each year. There's always something.
that's one of the great things about the league, the Blur, the people. There's always something slightly enhanced every year, and even with the restrictions and the struggles we've had with coronavirus, the Skibbies still found a way
That'll advance the runners on the wild pitch.
to
Could be big.
make this exciting, new, and that scoreboard is
The
beautiful.
scoreboard, the beautiful graphic on the strike zone that I myself thought was not real when I saw it.
Yeah,
and then even the video you and Sam did to start off the season, just little things like that to keep the spirits up, especially for someone like me at home who wasn't able to be here too much. It just keeps it exciting.
Yeah.
I know guys like Trent Steffies and them out of towners are following as well.
Yeah, if Trent, if you're on there, hello, we love you, we miss you, we hope your surgery goes well. Give me a text to let me know you're listening. Jimmy takes a hack. So let me catch you up there, folks. So Gus came in, decided to walk Brett Spencer instead of face him, so put him on first, and then Jimmy is actually next up to bat, so Germer came in to run for Jimmy. So we'll see what Gus can do here to get out of this jam. Bases loaded with 1 out. All he needs is 1.
Oddly quiet here, folks.
Oh,
Just
clips the top for the second strike here, so we're down to the last strike. We'll see if Gus can do it.
I
Jimmy,
think John Light's hoping for a big hit here after that
No one's gonna celebrate harder if we see it.
bonehead call he made over
Absolutely.
there. He's hoping for something big here.
I think they decided to walk him on purpose, intentionally there. They'll take the run, but now they're going to go to Evan.
It looks like a little bit, maybe a pitch around to Jimmy Nelson
A
there.
little bit.
He can swing a big stick.
So we'll see what Evan can do. People have underestimated Evan a couple times this season, and he's come up big for them. So we'll see if he makes the Skibbies pay for that decision there. Good check. 1-0. 2-0. 3-0. Good hold there. Takes that one there. 3-1 now. Remember, folks, we play an 8-3 count. Second strike there, just clipping the edge. So, oh, drives one up foul. So we're still 3-2 there. And he hits the tree there. It looks like we're gonna get a ball break here, folks. So, Jimmy, what have you been up to, man? Let the fans know what's been going on in your world. And
Well,
I saw a couple pictures of you fully dressed for the NHL playoffs, in all of your hockey gear.
I did. I dressed up. I threw on some of my old pads. It's been a while.
Did they smell good?
Oh, they smell great. I haven't aired those bad boys out in a while. Threw on my Tarasenko jersey, my full cage, and I was excited for the playoffs. Unfortunately, the Blues obviously got knocked out, but it's just nice to have some sports back.
Absolutely.
Baseball, hockey. I'm not the biggest basketball fan.
And wiffle ball.
And now wiffle ball.
Yeah. Oh,
Good eye.
big hold there. 4-2.
Got good back. Very good back.
5-2, folks.
I'm close to making Gus Skibby work for it here.
6-2. Gus being probably smart, trying to get him to chase, because Gus can hit the strike zone when he
He can.
wants.
Yes, he can.
He elects to, and when he wants to. 7-2, full count, folks. Oh, and he just pulls one foul there. Jimmy Stout with a new, oh, and he gets Evan to ground out to the pitcher there to get out of that jam. Now, Jimmy, did I just see a different number on your jersey?
I went with the new number change.
New number, and we went with 92. Explain that thought process.
Well,
there.
number 9 is was my go-to number, but Peter Light took that, and I think he went with number 5 this year, unexpectedly.
He's actually changed numbers 3 times this season.
Okay.
He was 9 once. I think he was 18 once.
Okay.
And then he wore 5, and I'm not sure if that was a tribute to David Olderman since he's not here this year.
I
And,
think so.
he just said that it was just an extra jersey, but I think subconsciously he was giving a tribute out to David Olderman.
And that's the thing about Pete. Last year when I missed out, Pete wrote my initials on his arm for me while I was just right down the road at Mercy Hospital, dealing with some things. And even with David Olderman no longer with the team, you know, that's just the kind of guy Pete is.
Mhm.
He still cares about his players. He wishes the best for David Olderman with the Astros. Unfortunately for you guys, he couldn't be here this
Mhm.
year. But yeah, that's just the kind of guy Pete is. He won't go out of his way to say that's what he did. He doesn't want to, you know, everybody giving him compliments left and right. But,
Yeah.
but deep down, we know that's what it was.
Great captain, great leader of his team and his squad, and great member of the SWBL here. So bottom of the 5th with the Expos up by a couple. I've lost track of the score at this point. But it's going to come down to this, and we're going to see what happens, folks. Let's just tune in and see. Top of the lineup, Gus Gibby up, so you got to feel really comfortable if you're the Braves with him being the first at bat.
Yeah, I mean, look at this
And-
Braves team. Gus Scibia, Sam Scibia, Paul Castellano.
Yeah. Oh, and Jimmy gets him on the big K.
And I apologize, I forget the name of the...
Steve Hayes.
there we go, Steve
Hayes.
Hayes. I almost wanted to say Alec Hayes.
Yeah, it's a little confusing. Oh, Sam taking one that would have been probably maybe a hit, maybe just one walk, one ball, but getting that first strike rule out of the
When you're a
way.
hitter like Sam Scibia, you can do things like that.
Yeah. And they knock it down, and he does
Gets it.
get the
Wow.
out. So the Expos, the darlings, the unprobable, are gonna go into the finals.
And
this,
that guarantees a first championship for either team, correct?
yeah. Well, going into this game, yeah, first championship. We're down to the 3 because obviously the Braves, being a new franchise, couldn't. You know, they've never had any. The Brewers have had their playoff woes year after year, and the Expos, the unprobable, maybe I wouldn't say expected, but definitely a fan favorite
Definitely.
to try to make a push to win. And what a story, folks! Like first time in the playoffs for this franchise, 2 wins now, and now they're in the championship. So let's see what happens. We'll see you soon.